Welcome to December. December's for Paul's yard walk. This is going to be kind of an unusual one. We'll just do a few different things. And just saying hi, welcome to December. It's time to turn the compost. We're going to turn the compost today. This stuff here was sitting here out in the middle bin all summer. So let's see what's in there. Well, it looks like most of it finished. Let's take a look here. There's some pine needles still in here, and there's some twigs. You can kind of always see what takes a long time. This is it snapped it. Some kind of a stick or a twig. Kind of see what takes the longest to break down the pine needles. That might have been an eggshell. That looks like aluminum foil. That should never have gotten in there. But all in all, looks pretty good. This sat here. If I dig down to the bottom, I'm expecting to find some more twigs. This is from some of the cleanup from last spring. When you clean up the garden, a lot of it is twiggy, and that stuff takes a long time to break down. So anyway, we'll turn what I can over into the finished pile, and what's too twiggy I'll throw in that pile, and then I'll move the new bin into the middle. That'll keep me out of trouble for a few minutes. There's a nice pile of finished compost now. This bin is pretty much empty, and instead of turning that one, I'm going to run out and sweep the driveway. We have a lot of needles that need to be swept up. Here, I'll show you. So we've had, while we were gone, there were some windstorms, and hard to believe I had cleaned this driveway off just last month, but you can see it's just covered with mostly dug fir needles and a few alder leaves. So next job, clean off the driveway. In places where there's moss growing, then once I get the driveway cleaned off, what I can do is come out here with baking soda. We get baking soda in a big bag at Costco, and usually the moss doesn't bother me. It's natural. I kind of like it. But here on the driveway, like right here, there's some, I don't know if you can see it, but I just kicked it. Right there, there's a little moss coming. If I put baking soda on the moss, then we get like a light misty rain, it'll kill it. So on sections of the driveway where I don't want to get too slippery, or up on the roof when I can reach parts of the roof, I don't want moss growing on the roof, then I will use baking soda as an environmentally safe moss killer. It changes the pH, the moss doesn't like it, and it just dies. So as you can see here, I've only swept the lower part of the driveway, and just in so doing, I filled my little garden cart. My old garden cart. I love this cart for everything around the garden. The two-wheeled garden cart, much easier to use than, like a single-wheel wheelbarrow, which might be great for dumping concrete. But these are great for moving everything. They hold a lot. This front actually slides up if you want to dump out the front, but I usually don't bother. But anyway, I'm going to take this back to the compost pile, and then I'll come out, and if I was lazy, I'd get the shop vac out and blow the driveway off. But if I do that, then I miss out on all this great compost. And you might say, well, what's the big deal? Why are you so fixated on compost? What's the big deal with compost? Well, there's the obvious, which is it recycles kitchen scraps, which would otherwise go to the landfill. That's, there's that. But I also, I don't have any animals, so I don't have any manure or anything like that, but I do have a lot of yard waste. And our soil here You can see I'm sort of stumbling along here, pulling the garden cart. Our yard waste, our soil here is mostly clay with a little rock, actually a lot of rock, left from the ice ages, mostly the last ice age, I presume. And it needs a little till to plant. The vegetation here, the trees and the plants have added a thin layer of topsoil on top, but underneath it's clay and rock, and adding some tilth to it's a good thing. If I have extra compost, I never have enough compost. If I have extra compost, I'll spread it on the lawn, just put a thin layer top dress the lawn with it. Otherwise I'll use it whenever I plant plants. I'll amend the soil. I know you're not supposed to do that in all cases, but I tend to do it anyway. Amend the soil, and I was going to say something else. Amend the soil. Oh well, I can't remember. But it's just good all-around stuff. Adds to tilth. Oh, if I ever make any more raised beds or terraces, then I need that as a backfill, of course. So just good all-around material. So I'm going to empty my. I have different varieties of blueberries here, and I don't know. I just tried different ones at different times, but the obvious difference now here this time of year is that two of these blueberries are evergreen. You know, that one there and that one there. And the rest of these are not. That one there is a low grower. I don't get any taller. These over here will eventually get taller. Got to make sure I give them some fertilizer. There's some organic fertilizer this winter. But anyway, there's just two. I say anyway too many times. But there's these two guys here that are both evergreen. Just thought I'd show those. We got a little snow overnight. It's supposed to get up to 40 today, and it's supposed to turn to rain, and then we're supposed to have rain on and off for the next few days. This started in the middle of the night. You can see it's not terribly deep. There's grass is sticking up through it. This side of the driveway stayed, stayed clear because of the tree protection, and it stayed a little warmer and less snow. And then there's our cars with a little snow on them this morning. But anyhow, so there's a pretty front yard, and I'm lucky in that it's not going to stay around too long. And here we are 24 hours later. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and as you can see, there is no snow left. There's a light rain falling. It is 38 degrees this morning. It'll probably be in the 40s. It's supposed to hit 50, I think maybe tomorrow, but the forecast is for more rain. And here on the front porch, right here, you can see the fuchsia is still blooming. Now I will say, however, that it was in the living room for a week during that cold snap we had in early December. In early December, we had a week or more of really, really cold weather. It was clear and cold every day. The temperature was in the 20s. I believe we hit the coldest temperature here that we've had in 4 years, is what they were saying. So it may have killed some stuff out in the yard. We'll have to wait till spring and see, and we'll walk around the yard in the spring later in 2014 and see if anything was damaged beyond repair. But in the meantime, now the fuchsia's back outside. It's been outside for several days now. It was outside during the snow, but it was only like 33 degrees when it was snowing. So, and it likes it here. Part of the reason that it survives, I think, it's under the roof, and if you get something over the top, it stays a little bit warmer because it's not open to the sky. I learned that. That's why amateur astronomers put dew shields on their telescopes, is to prevent the lens from seeing too much of the sky, because the heat, the cold, it just escapes into space. The heat just escapes, and it cools off faster. Your telescope dews up faster. So anyway, it's like I said, 38 degrees, light rain, and snow is all gone. This is the woods in back of our house. It's a second growth forest. So what happens is the Doug fir trees grow here too close together. They crowd each other out. Some of them start to die. I'm going to fall over here. Here's one, a dead one that fell down in the wind that we had here in the last few weeks. And so there'll be trees down at weird angles like that one there for over the next few decades. And eventually this will start to look more and more like an old growth forest, which will be a mixture of old and young trees, and the older trees will be spaced a little better. But for now it's going to look kind of like this, because that's just the way it is. And it's going to take, it's been several decades, it'll take several more. I can come in here and thin it a little bit, and I will take out a few more, but there's just too much here. This is looking in this direction. I'm looking east. There's a couple of there's about an acre that we have in this direction, and then on the other side of that there's like a 20-acre plot, and then the highway on the other side of that. So